the ice is so thin where you start going in, you're going to keep breaking the ice. It's very difficult. So when you train today, you're training how to get out on that ice safely and do that rescue, whether it be a person or a dog.
Alright, what we're going to have is we're going to have two holes, one over there and one over where the rock is. But we'll have one team, probably just set it up, group one can work. We'll work one crew with the sled and go over that, and the other crew will just do rescues if you didn't have the sled and you were deploying out just with a suit and a rope. So, like I said, remember we've got 2 suits in the dive truck, 4 suits in the back of the trailer, and 2 in rescue 1. All of them are pretty much modern, up-to-date suits, except the old 2 Gumby suits on here. We can use those today. And I would consider those second-line reserve. Use them if you have to, but the other suits are a lot better to go out on the ice first. So again, like we talked about in the classroom, when you get here, again, take a look, figure out what if you get a call, you get to a location, find out if that's actually your best access or whether you're going to have to go in somewhere else. Don't get all your resources committed until you know where you're looking. See how far out you're going to go. Most of our ropes are 300-foot line. You can daisy chain them together if you have to. Hopefully when we roll out the dive truck, you've got a couple people who can be suiting up on the way there. So you can get there, you can deploy out. Ideally, first rescuer takes the sled, heads out with that. If you've got more people, have somebody else deploy out with them in one of the suits. Depending on conditions, the guy in the suit might actually be able to get out there faster. Get in, at least support the person in the water until you can get the sled to it. Again, it's going to depend. Like I say, you're going to find with the sled today, you've actually got to paddle across a little bit of open water. Sometimes the plan just comes together. I didn't plan it that way. When you get out to them, remember, if you're approaching a victim with the sled, you can come in straight at them. If you're using a suit, I want to, if the victim's here, I want to see you coming in from one side or the other. What you don't want to do is come straight at him. If that ice is barely holding, he's hanging onto the ice, when you get near him, if all of a sudden that ice breaks, they could be going down. So you want to come in from a side and try to come around from behind them. Remember, the first thing you want to ask them, is there anybody else with you? Just because you got a report of one victim doesn't mean somebody else might have already submerged. So you always want to check, make sure they're the only one. For the suits, remember, if you're donning the suits, anything except the old green Gumby suits, leave your shoes on. Take your shoes off. I'm sorry, take your shoes off. The old green Gumby suits with the big feet, you got to have your boots on. Take anything sharp out of your pockets. We don't want to puncture the suits if we can avoid it. Zip them up all the way. What we're experimenting with is the 2 suits in the dive truck we left hanging. We do have ice cleats that we're going to attempt leaving them attached to the feet on the suit. We tried the cleats out the other day. They work very nicely out there. You can move a heck of a lot easier on the ice with. Thing to keep in mind with those cleats, be careful working around the other suits. I don't really want to see the suits get torn. And all they are is little screws in the bottom of those things. I don't think they tear something, but I don't want to find out either. Zip the suit up, try to get the air burped out. Squat down, try to squeeze the air out. The cinches on the hands, the legs, try to get the air out. When you get in the water, remember, tug the neck open a little bit, otherwise you blow up. Try to get the air that's trapped in the suit out. When you attach the line, remember the line always goes in the front for ice rescue. In fact, all the newer suits are configured that way anyway. So if you're going out, and again, we'll go over it. If you're going out with the suit, you'll see the ropes have 2 carabiners on them. First one goes on the rescuer, second one goes back in the sled. So when the sled's being pulled, that first carabiner is taking the tension. They're not trying to pull you and then pull the sled. They're pulling the sled first. Sled goes out, you come up to the victim, establish contact, make sure they're the only one. Get a hold of them underneath the arms, however you want to do it. Get them up onto that strap that will go over down in the sled. Get the strap to about here, pull them up so the strap's about here. Tighten the strap up. pull it up onto each one of the legs on the sled, then slide them back. So most of their weight supported by the sled. Then bring them in. If you're doing it with the rescue suits, doing it the old school way, furthest out carabiner, or the one that's at the bitter end of the line goes on the rescue, or the second big pear-shaped one you keep in your hand. When you approach your victim, keep the carabiner in the opposite hand from where the victim is. So if you're coming in, the victim's over here, have the carabiner in your right hand. As you come in around, come in the water, come up from behind them, get one arm under one arm, your arm under their arm on one side, then your other arm under the other arm on the other side. Take the carabiner, clip it back onto the line, so when they take tension on the line from shore, it's going to lift them up out of the water. They'll come out first, then you come out behind them. And again, depending on how much they can help you, they may be able to help you get the carabiner around, or may not. Again, you got to assess your victim. Are they going to be able to help you, or are they at the point that all they're doing is hanging on that ice shelf and that they're ready to go under? So you got to look at that. Rope signals, basically.
This is hilarious.
Yes, I know. Yes. Here, take the you're going to be out of range of verbal communication. I wouldn't recommend taking a radio out there. We do have one small waterproof pouch. It'll fit the little Kenwoods. It won't fit the bigger radios. So you're probably going to be relying on hand signals. If you're the tender on shore trying to guide a rescuer out there, this is keep going out. This is come in. Go that way, go that way. Pretty easy. For the rescuer,
it's a great training. The need to work on the ice is pertinent because it's really difficult to work out there when it's this thin. And it's hard to get up on the ice and save some people. So it's a really good training. It's a good experience.
Yeah, it was several years ago, but it was an attempt to rescue a dog. The people went out after it. They ended up falling through. The dog got out and ran back to shore on his own, and we had to go out and rescue the people. And that, in fact, it was on this lake. So it's one of those things. If the dog goes through, call us. We do come out and do that. It prevents. We hope somebody doesn't go out in the water, so we have to rescue them. And B, it's training for us.
Right.